In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to the Marketing in the Age of AI podcast. I'm your host, Emanuel Rose. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with John Suarez. John is a seasoned marketing leader and an AI power user who is at the forefront of exploring the transformative impact that artificial intelligence is having on how we can and should work and learn. His deep understanding of marketing strategy and AI integrations positions him as a leader in the industry. John will share his insights on the critical intersections of marketing and technology, as well as actual strategies for leveraging AI to drive measurable results. John, if I can find you, I'm going to welcome you. There we go. John, thanks so much for spending some time with me today.
Thanks for having me, Emmanuel. Excited to talk.
Yeah, well, I'm really grateful for your time and expertise. And how in the world did you get into marketing in the first place?
I think it's one of those things, you probably hear this from a lot of marketers, the intersection of psychology and sales, and, blend those two together and it's marketing. How do people take what makes them tick? And that's, as a little marketer, it gets you excited of doing big things and making big waves. So that's kind of what got me into marketing. And I've been in marketing my entire career. The first half of it, for about the first 5 years, I was in-house. In the past 5 to 6 years, I've been on an agency side, which just really accelerates a lot of experiences learning all of that. So, and that's a bit about my marketing side.
Well, that's cool. Who's one of your experts in the Marketing Hall of Fame that you follow?
I think this is probably most people, but Seth Godin is,
nice.
He's somebody that I listened to, read a couple of his books. I really like him from I think almost a cultural and a bit of psychology perspective. I really like Malcolm Gladwell, just his revisionist history. If you ever listen to that podcast, that's a great take on kind of what's going on in the current environment and also in the past and a dissection of it. So I appreciate his work too.
Yeah, I think him and Cialdini, obviously genius at work. And then I really love Jay Abraham. He was my entry into marketing back in the old days before the internet and all that stuff. So used to buy the Jay Abraham tape sets and listen to the cassette tapes.
Very nice. Yeah. You still have those? They might be
well, they might be worth something. No, I'm not a collector, unfortunately. I get rid of everything. So
yeah, I'm the same way. Minimal.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So what kind of clients are you working with right now? And which ones of them do you like working with?
Oh, yeah, I'll save the ones I don't like working with. No, it's like children, right? You love them all the same. So at my agency, Smart Bug Media, I lead a team of very talented marketers and operational strategists, and really just support them and get out of their way or get obstacles out of their way to make sure they can do their best work. And I'll step in sometimes to provide overview support, or get more involved on some of the more complex accounts. But there is one that a newer client, which I think will be public soon, but they are like the vibe coding platform. You've definitely heard of them. And we're working with them to set up a lot of their operations and their business architecture, which will then transfer into like RevOps of marketing and sales and CS. So those sorts of clients that are very AI forward, that are also just startups and unicorns, some of them just bring that mentality of, okay, let's get stuff done fast. Let's break things. Let's do something new. So they come to the table saying, we don't know it all. what can you tell us is like best practice? What can you recommend? Here's what we're thinking. Let's workshop it together. So like really a partnership and collaboration, of course, are the most fun clients to have.
Well, that's cool. So you got some tech clients, it sounds like, and then are you working with any e-commerce brands or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have some e-commerce clients. That is one entire kind of section or segment of our business. We also work with just your typical brick and mortars. We have healthcare, we have finance, financial institution clients. So it kind of spans the entire spectrum of verticals. Some on some sides of the verticals, it's okay, how do we get basic marketing strategies set up? And those are good too. And we're very good there. And those are rewarding because you see impact happen whenever you put in place some things that might be straightforward to people that have been in marketing in a while. But when you're in-house, sometimes you're just mired by all these different processes and it's hard to action anything until you get an agency or an outside perspective to help you.
I think it's funny, like when we support marketing directors or CMOs and their team, and it's like they spend so much time in like the politics of the business.
Yeah.
And then there's like these really wide open, obvious gates like they've just completely forgot about. What do you see about that?
I think that is said pretty perfectly. It is a lot of red tape, whether you call it bureaucratic or whatever red tape inside of organizations of, okay, I have to manage all these different personalities, all these different opinions, when at the end of the day, of course, organizations for the most part are revenue driving engines, right? So how do we generate more revenue? How do we streamline our operations? How do we cut down on costs and things like that? So bringing it back down to the basics of what are we actually here to do, and kind of try to cut through all that red tape and politicking and say, okay, like, and that's nice, I think, for a lot of internal people that deal with that, to hire an agency, because you can, in a way, distance yourself from the outcome. And most of the time it is a good outcome and should be. But in a way, the agency can play the bad guy and say, okay, let me get all the people in the room. Let me object. Let me say that I don't agree with that, and kind of have some of those hard conversations.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think it really is a good relationship that the CMO and the outside agency have in that respect, where you kind of play good cop, bad cop with the organization.
Yeah, we definitely do that a lot.
Well, let's see. So I know you've been engaged with AI tools for a long time, but tell me, what's your custom GPT count for you personally?
I lost count after like the first few months of it launching. I got into AI when I was in-house for a big kind of due diligence, risk, compliance, and M&A firm. They did a lot of due diligence for M&As and multinationals, and they developed an AI kind of product. This was in 2018, 2019, before it was a buzzword.
It was still machine learning in those days, right?
Oh yeah, it was exactly. It's of course a subset of AI, and people just think of AI as this. Okay, this is AI, right?
Yeah.
There's machine learning. There's neural networks. There's generative AI. There's all the different things. Which anyway, that was my entrance into it, and I've been kind of hooked since then, because I mean, it's the greatest, I think, innovation for us as a technologically as a species since probably the internet.
Yeah,
it just unlocks the entire library of data that we know as a human, kind of as culture and all of our intelligence. But anyway, GPT count can't count that high, even though I think I'm good at arithmetic. But it's just, there's just so many fascinating things that you can do today that I'm just so excited for the future on.
Yeah, let's see. So my current tech stack is Notebook LM to custom GPT,
Very nice.
Replit,
Yep.
to the agent maker. What is there a gap in there that you could tell me about?
No, I think that's pretty right. Replit's good. There's Base 44, there's Lovable, there's whatever your kind of vibe. Well, there's two things, right? There's the vibe coding platform, but as far as your kind of connectors and things like that, N8N or Make, I use a lot as just, okay, I'm not a developer. I need to build integrations and connections between all these different platforms. And I think that is, it's more advanced right now, but it's really a no code solution. And I think for a lot of people, like that is what people should be paying attention to. So I love your workflow and your work stream. And I mean, how awesome is is Notebook LM? I mean, especially for any kind of content creation podcast, it's like, it is mind blowing. Because imagine having this 2 or 3 years ago, you'd be like, that's not possible. There's no way that technology is going to exist.
And so for anybody who's listening, it hasn't tried Notebook LM yet, it is a Google product. It is a deep research tool, and it is magic for doing market research or market trends. And then also to plug in all the work that you've done as PDFs or as links, and then say, compared to the market trends and this content, where are the gaps that we should be exploiting? And so it's a tool that's worth spending 10 hours studying and learning how to use, I think.
Yeah, it really is. And I think for a lot of the clients that I work with, which are more and more asking for, how do I use AI? How do I I hear the promise of this product or this technology. How do I deploy it? And I think it starts small, researching or looking into or playing around with tools like Notebook LM, and being like, just letting your mind and imagination start to go wild about all the possibilities. And then just starting with one thing from there, like, where can I implement this to make my life easier? Which typically starts with, how do I cut down on my time, my manual time that I'm spending on tasks each day? And then you'll get more and more comfortable with it. And then you can start to explore greater efficiency gains or even revenue gains from it.
I love it. Yeah. My thing is, what am I clicking on? And do I really have to be the one clicking?
Right. Exactly. Can I have these genius interns do all the clicking for me? And how do I narrow the gap or the amount of work I have to do between conception of an idea, and actual product?
And I think that's what is most amazing is this weekend, I set up a bot to go and do research for me for podcast guests.
Yep.
And I laid out the 7 criteria, has to meet at least 4 of the 7 criteria, feed the Google Doc, and then also go and make an email and send them the link to the website and my booking link, my meet and greet link. And literally within 2 hours, I had the first meeting set from the bot. So when you have that kind of leverage, the world really is the world is your oyster in terms of business, because it's really limited just by your imagination at that point.
That's exactly right. And I think so. I co-authored a book and we published it earlier this year, The Marketer's Manual on generative AI. And part of that was first to give people an understanding of, what is this tool, right? How does it actually work under the hood, but at a high level under the hood, right? It's not meant for a developer or coder, but a large section of it is more actionable of, okay, I'm a marketer or operations person. How do I actually get into this tool and start using it? Because there are so many different things that we could do. I love your application of it just now. And it's like, what do you need it to do? And just starting with it versus thinking of all the possibilities and having analysis paralysis and never starting in the first place.
Yeah. So how do you start making use cases and start breaking them down? What's your process?
So when I first began using AI quite a bit and trying to figure out how to use it to my advantage so I could have that 4-hour work week that's been talked about for the past decade. The first thing, and I mentioned it a moment ago, what's taking a lot of my time? Okay, it could be emails, it could be researching, client industries or competitors, it could be anything, right? So just writing down a couple things that each day or each week are taking a lot of your time, and then just having a conversation. This is for AI kind of 101 people that don't have it implemented yet. Having a conversation with an AI tool. This could be ChatGPT, it could be Claude, it could be Gemini. And your intern, somebody that is in a room with you, kind of brainstorming, to say, hey, I'm spending a lot of time sending out emails and researching it. How do I create an AI agent to do this for me? And it will literally give you the steps. It's a cheat code that I think very few people are using, even though it can tell you step by step exactly what to do. It'll say, okay, first of all, you need to develop your kind of process for researching. And this kind of tool, like, go to make.com and it can scrape LinkedIn, it can connect your inbox and do that. Okay, now, and it really just breaks it down, I think, in a simple way that is a lot more digestible than just saying, oh my God, I have this idea. So it always starts with, what can I spend less time on using AI? And then at the point that you're at, I think at the point that I'm at, and some other people that are really deep in AI, it is, okay, if I have a bunch of agents doing a lot of things for me already, how do I make those more efficient?
Yeah.
If you're in an organization, it could be proliferating, like the use of AI across your organization, or it could be getting to the holy grail of like, how do I automate almost the revenue and sales motion as much as I can to generate more revenue for my organization?
I love it. Yeah. Use cases. I like to think of it in terms of, what do I hate doing? What am I not good at?
That's good.
Or where do I need leverage, right? Where do I need a 10X it?
Yep.
And then build out those SOPs. And I love what you're doing with chat with that idea. I also built an SOP genius. And so you can go and run through a little workflow, and then it spits out the SOP, which then you take and put it into Replit or Base 44 or something, and then it'll build it for you.
That's right. Yeah. And marketers today, like your blog drafts and all of that, your podcast, at least research, these things can be automated. And of course, a human should be reviewing everything before it goes out or before it's used. But I don't like researching personally. I like all of that being automated. And then I'd like to see the sources and citations. And then of course I'll read through it and ask questions, but like that level 1 research, I just want that, point, click, done. Give me the notes.
Give me the summary.
Yeah.
Cliff's notes, right? Or
exactly.
Notes.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. So you talked about that we need to be, as marketers, adopting it and figuring out these SOPs. What's one other thing that you've got in the marketer's manual on generative AI?
The other one is, and I'm sure you see this a lot, anyone in an agency or especially internal, it is people's perception of AI. And that is often I think it's less and less, but it's often a blocker for AI adoption. So you might be able to say, okay, my day-to-day workflow as an individual contributor or manager or this or that, like I can automate that. But when you can scale that out to an organization, that's where like huge gains come from, right? 10Xing, 20X, whatever. But part of it is you have these different personalities to deal with, right? We talked about red tape and politicking and this and that. So part of it is getting people on board to what AI can do for them. And I think it's following a very simple workflow to what we just talked through. It's like, what do other people hate doing? Get all the necessary stakeholders in a room, start brainstorming, start creating a list, marking it down, prioritizing, and just saying, we're going to pilot this one thing. Do not pilot 20 things at once.
Right.
That's going to end in disaster. And when you pilot it, make sure you know what a successful outcome is and make sure you know how to measure that outcome.
Love it. Yeah.
And that's really it.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta have a plan, which most people skip ahead of. So you get a plan, figure out the KPIs, pick one thing.
Yes.
And then change management, right? Which is the big corporate word for it. But yeah, you've got to have a way to solve and salve everybody's wounds when they're worried that it's going to take their job, which there's nobody who's learning AI is in danger of losing their job at this point.
No, you're just strengthening your position in the market, really.
Yeah. Well, John, I really appreciate you spending some time with me, and I love the work that you're doing, and the book that you wrote. I hope that it is being well received. And we need more marketers doing good marketing with the AI tools.
I agree. Yeah, it was a great conversation, Emanuel.
And let's see again. What's the website for people to get in touch with you?
Just my LinkedIn, /in/John J. Suarez is the best place to get in touch with me.
All right. Well, thanks again for spending some time. I appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Emanuel.
All right. Thank you. Well, good notes from an experienced marketer, which is, let's get some KPIs, let's get a plan, Let's work on one use case first, get that working cleanly, and then enjoy that time to go and do some other things that only the humans can do, like build relationships with your best clients and your direct reports. I hope you've gotten some value from the conversation I had with John Suarez today. I hope you go and get his book. And I also hope that you take some time to research custom GPTs or Notebook LM and find a way to reclaim 4 to 6 hours from your work week. And that with that time, you continue to upskill, that you spend it with your friends and family, or that you get outside into nature away from the screens. It's Emanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.